basically. The military would be funding, would be running aid to certain groups in the region. The State Department would be running aid to certain groups in the region. The intelligence community would, and there was no sort of central coordinator of those capacity building operations.
So U.S. aid is really kind of like the buffer between the Pentagon and the State Department and the CIA. And as Mike Benz put it, they're a switch player. So they kind of morph and go wherever they need to kind of keep the money flowing.
So USAID, by the way, is a $50 billion budget. The entirety of the intelligence community is only $72 billion. So it is more than the CIA and more than the State Department.
Wow.
And aid is basically, USAID is effectively a switch player to assist the Pentagon with on the national security front, to assist the State Department on the national interest front, or to assist the intelligence community on a sort of clandestine operations front.
So you kind of get what USAID is, and I love the way he says it. It's that name for a reason. It wants to make your brain, kind of switch and think, oh, we're providing aid, but it's not. It's the U.S. Agency for International Development. Okay, so what exactly do these people do? Well, let's go down the list. USAID was paying media organizations to publish propaganda. They were actively instructing media organizations around the world to agree policies on strategic silence to all collectively censor social media narratives. That USAID was pumping money into that. USAID, this is one of my favorites. USAID was funding the opium farming in Afghanistan. It's just so wild. One of my favorite conspiracy theories coming up as a wee lad, was that one of the reasons we were in Afghanistan was because of the opium. It had really nothing to do with oil or anything like that. And before the U.S. got in there, opium production had plummeted, and then the U.S. got back in there, and opium production ramped back up. And this was a conspiracy theory. But no, it's not a conspiracy theory. Breitbart reported this back in 2018. American taxpayer money has funded irrigation canals, farming equipment, and even fertilizer used to support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, mainly benefiting Taliban narco jihadists, U.S. officials found. It's funny that they found that because it was U.S. aid that was helping the production of heroin in Afghanistan. USAID. This is a massive can of worms. No, like Elon said, we found a bowl of worms. It's not an apple with a worm in it. It's just a bowl of worms. And this is going to be huge. Did you know USAID helped fund the development of COVID in that biolab? Listen, you can call it a conspiracy theory. Dr. Robert Redfield testified to that under oath. The U.S. aid funneled $53 million into EcoHealth Alliance, which then used U.S. taxpayer funds to support gain-of-function research on coronaviruses at the Wuhan lab. That's U.S. aid for you. So they're helping fund gain-of-function research that directly led to COVID-19. They're helping get Afghan opium farms up and running again. They're helping silence people on social media. Are you starting to get a picture of U.S. aid? I'm getting a bigger, clearer picture now. Elon Musk was going off about this, and there are now calls for U.S. aid officials to be subpoenaed because U.S. aid, well, they are directly accountable to both the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So we're going to need some House and some Senate subpoenas. We're going to need it. Elon Musk calling for that last night on Twitter. Bring it. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, looks at all of this, and she says, this is what are we doing? The hand-wringing. She posted on X, this is a 5-alarm fire. The people elected Donald Trump to be president, not Elon Musk. Having an unelected billionaire with his own foreign debts and motives raiding the U.S. classified information is a grave threat to national security. This should not be a partisan issue. The same organization that helped fund gain-of-function research. The same organization that helped fund media companies censoring social media. The same organization that helped fund Afghan opium farms. No, it's not. And I love how she says, the people elected Trump, not Musk. Well, let's be fair. Let's be fair. One of the promises that Donald Trump made to the American people was that Elon Musk was going to come in there and slash a ton of programs and save the Americans money. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a huge fan of my taxpayer dollars going to fund opium farms in Afghanistan. Not a huge fan of my taxpayer dollars going to fund gain-of-function research in Wuhan. Are you? Are you? I mean, this is the exact kind of stuff that we want Elon to cut, right? Interesting. Some people commented on AOC's post, and they said, no. The 5-alarm fire will be after the White House reveals some of the waste, fraud, and corruption that Elon and his team uncover. They say that this will be Iran-Contra on steroids. And they note that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, well, she should buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a wild ride. So the fire is going to be when USAID gets fully exposed. And I really do hope that we get some subpoenas and we get some we get some actual accountability. The people didn't elect Elon Musk. They elected Trump. Well, on the promise that Elon would do all of this. And Trump yesterday saying Elon's doing a great job.
President, do you feel that Elon Musk is delivering on his promises to you? Do you feel he's doing a good job right now?
I do. I think Elon's doing a good job. He's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we won't agree with it and will not go where he wants to go. But I think he's doing a great job. He's a smart guy, very smart. And he's very much into cutting the budget of our federal government.
Yeah, and listen, if the budget cutting starts with not funding Afghan opium farms and not funding censorship on social media and not funding gain-of-function research in Wuhan, I think that's a good start. That's a good start. USAID, there's also questions on the money that Zelensky got. That's interesting. Zelensky's actually on the record now saying that of the $183 billion that he received, he only actually received $77 billion of that money. That's interesting. We all have constantly said Ukraine is just a money laundering operation. Is USAID involved with that? You see, of the allocation of $183 billion of Ukraine aid through September of 2024, the Defense Department got $125 billion. The State Department got $11 billion. And USAID got $39.8 billion. Weird. Other agencies got $7 billion. So of that $39.8 billion that USAID got, what'd they do with it? Where'd it go? These are questions that we should be asking. These are questions that we should be demanding answers to. And as people hand-wring and they get all upset that, USAID and Elon's an unelected bureaucrat. He's an unelected person. We didn't elect Elon. Do you have an issue with uncovering corruption? I don't. And I don't care where it may lead. If it leads to Republican lawmakers and members of Congress, so be it. If it leads to Democrat lawmakers and members of Congress, so be it. Let's find out where the corruption is, and let's put an end to it. That's what Elon Musk is doing. USAID is the tip of the iceberg. I think that we're going to have a lot of revelations that are going to blow people's minds in the coming months. Doge has also been granted access to U.S. Treasury payment systems. Yeah, yep. And it's wild. Elon said the Doge team discovered, among other things, that payment approval officers at the Treasury were instructed to always approve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire career, not even once, Musk posted on Twitter. Let's rewind that. Let me say it again in case you're not paying attention. The Doge team discovered, among other things, that payment approval officers at the Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, were instructed to always approve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire career, not even once. Oh, but Elon can't be looking at this stuff. There might be something classified in there. No, I think the fear is what he's going to uncover, not what he might find out that's classified. The Muskades, who received access to the payment systems were designated as Treasury employees and underwent background checks to obtain security clearance. Just in case anybody says, they don't have that kind of access, they don't have that kind of security clearance. Well, they actually do. And while access has been approved, the representatives do not yet have operational control over the system. No payments have been blocked so far. Sources told the New York Times that the initiative is focused on reviewing and identifying improper payments rather than arbitrarily halting transactions. Treasury Department attorneys also approved the arrangement, ensuring that any modifications to the payment process would go through a review procedure. So, yeah, DOJ, not an official government department, but it does operate under Trump's directive with the goal of cutting inefficient government spending and reducing the size of federal government. And I don't know about you, but always approving a payment no matter what, even if it's to a known fraudulent or a terrorist group, I feel like that's a good place to start. I feel like that's pretty solid. I'm here for it. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
All right, drivers got a crash here eastbound South Loop downtown just past 65. You're going to have the right lane blocked. We also have rolling roadblocks with the left 2 lanes blocked going eastbound at 4th Avenue, fixing some potholes there. Then in Wilson County, we've got a crash 40 westbound at the Commerce Road overpass. And President Trump's agreed to pause tariffs on Mexico after Mexico's president agreed to help out more at the southern border. Tell you about it at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Did you see what J.D. Vance said about Trump and Mexico? He posted this on X. He said, for 3 days, a lot of the far left has actively rooted against America and argued we'd get nothing out of President Trump's demands that Mexico secure its country. Well, how do you like them apples? That's a direct tweet from J.D. Vance.
That sounds like something Mamaw would say.
It does, while she's reaching for a handgun, which could be anywhere.
How do you like those apples?
How do you like those apples? I love it. I'm here for it. Elon Musk says he thinks he can cut the federal deficit by $1 trillion next year and says it will create a cascading effect for Americans. And if you look at what he's been doing, it's hard to bet against this guy.
I'm optimistic that we'll see a material impact in FY26, which starts in October. You know, a lot of the stuff I think we'll make significant gains in FY25, government financial year 25, which ends in September. But I think that like we're the sort of metric we're tracking, sort of kind of startup style or just. And we're going to be posting more and more detail on the Doge website and Doge handle on X is just so people can see in detail, like this is where we're seeing the delta in spending between current spending and government financial year 25 or 26, which starts in October. And that number is really, you know, we think it's at this point over $1 billion a day, maybe $2 billion, maybe approaching $3 billion. I think we can take $1 trillion out of the deficit next year.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Isn't it nice to at least have a government agency now looking at cutting spending as opposed to blank checking everything like we've been dealing with for decades upon decades? I'm here for it.
Like, you know, obviously this is going to require, you know, strong support from the president, but thus far we certainly have that, and also support of the Congress, and support, and also hopefully support from the judiciary as well. But it's I mean, basically the goal in a nutshell is pretty straightforward. It's like we have a $2 trillion deficit, which is far in excess of economic growth. If we can get that deficit in half, from 2 trillion to 1 trillion, and we can get the economic growth to match that 1 trillion growth in the money supply, that means there will be no inflation, and also that interest rates will drop, credit card interest down, mortgage interest down, car payment interest down, and prices at the store stay the same. That is a great outcome for people. And I think we can, I think we can do it.
I think we can do it, he says. Listen, wouldn't you like your interest rates lowered? I know I would. I'm sure you would too. And that would have an absolute cascading effect for the American people. Yet we'll have hand-wringing. How can we do this? We can't win a tariff war with Canada and Mexico. I love what J.D. Vance said. We spent 3 days listening to the far left, just losing their minds over how we won't win a trade war with Mexico, and Mexico's already bent the knee. And I feel like we have more bent knees incoming as Justin Trudeau comes to meet with President Trump this afternoon. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I do know that just the fact that we have somebody looking at this now is completely different than anything we've ever dealt with in the past. Completely different and much needed. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. President Trump says he's pausing tariffs on Mexico for a month after Mexico's president announced an immediate deployment of 10,000 troops to the southern border to help with securing it against illegal immigrants. Here in Tennessee, Metro Police say a second motorcyclist was killed yesterday in a multi-vehicle crash on Nolensville Pike near Goins Road. Police say 23-year-old Marco Macias of Nashville was driving the motorcycle too fast and died at the scene after hitting the front of a Chevy Silverado pulling out of a parking lot, then crossing the road and hitting the front of a Jeep Compass. The driver of the Silverado wasn't hurt, but the 22-year-old driver of the Jeep and her 2-year-old son were taken to Vanderbilt Pediatrics with minor injuries. President Trump welcomes Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House today. Among the issues they'll talk about is maintaining the fragile ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas. Speaking earlier with WTN's Dan Mandis, the Heritage Foundation's James Carafano says he thinks Hamas will stick to the ceasefire and hostage deal.
I think Hamas will not risk holding on to hostages in the end, raising the ire of Trump once again. So this will play out. We'll move on to the next phase of the future, which is we try to figure out how these guys can live together in the region.
Groundhog's Day fell on a Sunday, so you might have missed what Punxsutawney Phil decided we'd be in for over the next 6 weeks. Here's Sherry Preston.
It's Groundhog Day. And
every year on February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil is pulled from his den and asked whether he sees his shadow or not. On Sunday,
there's a shadow up here. Get ready.
He saw it, meaning don't put away your winter coat just yet. Other groundhogs across the country, however, do not hold the same opinion as Phil. In fact, Phil may be a forecasting outlier. Woodstock Willie in Illinois, Staten Island Chuck in New York, and Ohio's prognosticating rodent Buckeye Chuck all miss their shadows, meaning an early spring.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about Spice and Easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
It's 11:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Ken, what did you say about the groundhog? Are we getting spring?
Nope. 6 more weeks of winter. Little fella saw his shadow.
Little guy.
But then there were other stories about other groundhogs. One of them, I think, was Buckeye Chuck up in Ohio, who apparently didn't see his shadow.
Buckeye Chuck's just a fake groundhog. He's been clout chasing for years. Nobody cares about Buckeye Chuck. He's been clout chasing.
I heard he's blind in one eye, so maybe he just missed it.
Do you follow the Dear Murfreesboro Instagram page?
Is that the fella who goes around trying out restaurants?
I don't know. He just posts memes.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not sure.
He said Tennessee actually has 12 seasons. All right. There's winter. And then there's Fool's Spring, which is where we are right now. We're in Fool's Spring.
Yes.
Then we'll get second winter.
Yep.
And then we'll get Spring of Deception. Then we'll get third winter. Then we get the pollinating. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Followed by actual spring, which is then followed by summer, which is followed by Hell's Front Porch.
Oh.
Which is followed by false fall, second summer, and then actual fall.
Yeah.
Those are the seasons in Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, everybody used to always tell me, "Oh, after Thanksgiving, it's freezing the rest of the year." No, I think of the 10 years I've been here, I think I may have not run the air conditioner on Thanksgiving twice.
Yep. I'm with you.
But that's true. That's actually very accurate.
It nailed it. So shout out to Dear Murfreesboro. If you're on Instagram, you can find me as well at Chris Hand on Air. You like that radio segue? I'm also on X and True Social with the same handle at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I'll follow back. I spent my time during the break following back the one person that followed me the last time I said it.
Let's get those numbers up.
One thing about Brother Chris, though. Brother Chris will follow back.
I will.
It doesn't matter.
Unless you look like a robot, which some of them do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially on X. I don't know if you guys have noticed this on X. There's always the Asian lady that's looking off into the distance.
And it's the same one on every picture.
Yeah, I don't follow back to that one.
I finally, after the 4th invite, I stopped talking to her.
She's like, at some point, they're going to follow me back. It's one woman making the same account.
Yes.
Did you hear what the New Jersey Democrat governor, Phil Murphy, said?
I can't wait.
Well, he let everybody know that he is actually harboring an illegal alien in his home. And then he all but subtly threatened law enforcement.
New Jersey, practically daring the agency to come to his own home. Democratic Governor Phil Murphy declared on Saturday that he and the First Lady are allowing someone pursuing legal